All right, everybody, this will be warning to all politicians. I'm running for president 2024, part 111, I believe. So we've had the debates and stuff going on here for this election. And if you're new to looking at these videos I've been putting up, the whole premise is tired of politicians and them dividing the country and not taking care of business. And so this is the first, well, I don't know if it's the first, but it's a YouTube only campaign for president. No rallies, no press conferences, no fundraisers. I don't want anybody's money. You feel like giving money, give it to your favorite charity. Just strictly write-in. If you like my ideas, if they make sense, even if I don't make it to office, maybe some other politicians out there will pick up on it and say, So give a thumbs up if you want, subscribe if you want, doesn't matter to me. Although the thumbs up, hey, get enough of those, maybe people take notice and look at some of the ideas. But if we get enough write-ins in 2024, I will file the paperwork and make it official and run for president. But until then, I'm just going to post my ideas and commentary on things. So that's the whole premise of it. So we're looking at what's been in the debates and in the news and stuff, and the primary things, to me anyway, that should always be at the forefront is taxes on the middle class and everybody. Actually, we pay too much in taxes. There's a lot of things, whether it's our medical plans or our retirement and stuff, we could all take care of ourselves. There's a lot lacking in the politicians, and within this culture. No one's taught to be analytical anymore, to look into anything. Somebody says, well, yeah, I get this. This will be a great idea. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And people, oh, okay. But nobody ever goes into details and looks at it and stuff. And I think that's lacking in our education system, is teaching kids to be analytical, not to follow, the herd and just go with, hey, everybody says this or that. And, it's kind of like, with energy and quote unquote global warming. The issue shouldn't be the argument about global warming, whether it's real or not real. The issue should be, can we develop better energy, cleaner energy, for real, instead of, hey, let's we're going to do all this wind and we're going to do all this solar, etc. When I was growing up, nuclear power was going to be the answer to everything, the wave of the future. And you had some incidents. You had 3 Mile Island and some other things, and we know Chernobyl and Fukushima. So nuclear energy is not really accident prone, but when it does happen, it can be disastrous. I know from 3 Mile Island. I was a kid in Jersey. 3 Mile Island, not that far away. We're downwind of it basically, and people were worried. They still say, I believe they still say, there was no radioactive material released, but there were leukemia and other types of cancer spikes across New Jersey and other parts of Pennsylvania and stuff after that. So like I say, there's no free lunch. There's a downside to everything, and a lot of the fight against nuclear energy, of course, came from coal and other industries, didn't want the competition. But to me, no matter what you do, you have to look at everything, all the nuts and bolts. It's not rocket science, and for a lot of things, They put so much spin out there, so many people, politicians and pundits for getting on TV, who are almost all paid by somebody to say what they're saying, even if they're scientists and stuff. You know, that you kind of have to do a little homework yourself and dig into things. So it's like, you know, let's say there's a fire. Everyone's, you know, well, we got to put water on that fire, put that fire out. Okay. Only one thing wrong with that. Water doesn't work on all fires. What if it's an electrical fire, a chemical fire? You know, that might not be the answer. So everybody's screaming about, you know, we got to have green energy and this and that. Well, solar and wind energy is not that green. It's cleaner, but there's also a lot of downsides, and no one ever wants to talk about the downsides, and I won't get into all of them, but look how much land those things take. They are subsidized. All right. Things have to stand on their own. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't look into other energies. I'm just saying, why are we just focusing on wind and solar? What about, you know, thorium reactors and using that electricity to produce hydrogen instead of electrical cars with all these friggin' batteries and stuff? Would hydrogen be better? Would it stand on its own against oil and gas? And I'm not for subsidizing them. And as far as fracking goes, that's another thing. I'm not too crazy about it. They use an awful lot of water, and they pump all kinds of stuff down in the ground. And like I said, there's a downside to everything. Are they someday going to frack something they shouldn't and cause an earthquake? I don't know. You got to talk to geologists and all those types of people and everything. But so what I'm saying is, we the people have to get more up to speed on a lot of things. And the sad thing is, there's so many people out there who aren't even aware of the issues, who don't even look. I mean, if you were to go through urban areas and stuff like this right now, people would automatically say they're voting for Biden. They don't have a clue as to what the guy has done or not done, what his plans are or anything. All they know is they heard Trump's a racist or whatever. That's the mantra, and that's it. That's formed their opinions. You know, or some, hey, Trump didn't pay his they all go, Trump didn't pay his taxes, blah, blah. You don't know if Trump paid his taxes or not, or, you know, what's come out and everything. And the main thing about that is, whether he's paid his taxes or not doesn't affect me or you. What he does as president, the policies and the things he puts in the you know, affect keeping jobs here and stuff like that and everything. That's what affects us. You know, if he didn't pay his taxes, sooner or later they're going to have to pay him, or, you know, something will get done about it, whatever. That'll all work. That's his business. I'm more concerned about our business, the country. You know, right now, if you're working middle class, upper middle class, lower middle class, it doesn't matter. You pay the taxes. Anything that's subsidized, you're paying the taxes. And all these jobs Joe Biden wants to create, they're going to be subsidized. Those industries are already subsidized. So you're not only subsidizing these people who are going to get rich from something that might just be a total failure. It's just pissing in the wind. It's not going to produce the energy at a price that can compete with other sources and stuff. So you're either going to pay higher taxes to keep the energy prices low by subsidizing these things, or you're going to pay higher electric bills. Things have to stand on their own. You know, those wind turbines you see, hey, you see 3 or 4 of them up on a hill. Hey, yeah, that looks kind of nice even. Hey, you don't know if they're killing birds. You also don't know that the company owns them wind turbines, doesn't own that land they're sitting on. Most of them, they're leasing from farmers. They can't put them all in one spot, like a tree farm or something. They got to spread them out because wind patterns don't blow in the same winds. Swirl around, go here or there. That's why you don't see too many of those things in a nice, neat. Some places you do nice, neat, and orderly. A lot of places it's just ugly as hell. Go through the Palm Springs area there on Interstate 10 in California. Look at them all over the place. You can see a lot of them stationary too, big black stains all around the turbine part because they blew gaskets. Blew out all their oil. Each one of them things holds 40 gallons of oil. They have to be hauled on special trailers. When Bush stopped the subsidies for them, there were a lot of trucking companies and the people who made trailers got very upset, who were into that, who were buying and building these special trailers to haul them on, because the whole thing was subsidized. They were making big money off it. Drivers, everybody, hauling them things. Obama put them back into play. Hey, next thing you know, you see them things being transported all over the place. They take up an awful lot of land. Solar farms take up an awful lot of land. I live in the Valley of the Sun, Arizona, Phoenix. I've always wondered why, if any place is going to be solar, it's got to be here, man. It's just got to be here. But you don't see it that much. And I've always wondered why. And I looked into it a little bit and everything. And the reason you don't is because there's such a scam with those solar panels. The cost of putting them on your house and everything. So most of them are leased. And then if you sell your home and a new purchaser doesn't want nothing to do with them, getting out of those leases and stuff, you can still be paying on them even though you don't live there. There's all kinds of stuff goes on with all that kind of stuff. Now, Tesla's come along with a thing where, they have a whole thing, not these long-term, never-ending contracts you can't get out of, whatever. They'll come install it, put in the battery packs and all that and everything, and you pay month to month or whatever. And when you're done with it or you sell the house or whatever, they come and get it. So maybe that's part of the answer. But you still got all these batteries, whether it's on your homes or they want the electric cars. You got all these batteries. Maybe hydrogen's the way to go. We can maybe, even if it's not a thorium, I've spoke of those before. I've only seen the videos on YouTube, so I'm not scientifically capable of telling you, yeah, thorium's a good thing or even a real thing or capable thing or whatever as reactors. But hey, even if they're not, I'm sure we can make safer nuclear reactors and use that electricity to make hydrogen. Other than the nuclear power plant and the dangers of it and nuclear waste, I'm not sure what the other downsides would be. I'm not sure if there's a downside to burning hydrogen or not. See a lot of these smaller communities convert their landfills into collecting methane and burning methane to generate electricity. Maybe we should put more money into that. But the thing is, if there's something good that comes along, it'll stand on its own. People will invest in it because, hey, that's a good idea. You don't need subsidies and investment from the government. Now, in big projects, Hoover Dam, all these things, that came out of the programs that Roosevelt did, they benefit us all. And then when they were done, they stand on their own. And that's the good thing about having Trump in office as president. He's a businessman. You can claim he's a lousy businessman. He went bankrupt here and this and that. The way business is done, sometimes that's just an act of business. Is you're forced into a position. The only way out is for you to do that. he does understand the principles of things have to work on their own, that you can't have all these programs and stuff that just and say, well, let's raise taxes on everybody. The average, you go in these urban areas and stuff and everything. Yeah, them rich people in Wall Street, this and that. Give all them rich people them tax cuts and Wall Street and this and that. Look here. I know there are people on Wall Street who scam and who've gotten away with stuff and still get away with stuff. They can have money fronted to them. Transactions, they make millions. They get supercomputers that make millions of transactions in milliseconds, and they might make a penny off of each trade, whatever. They take their money, they sell from that. There were these brokerage firms who would be telling you to buy stock that they were dumping so that they would make money, and didn't worry about the people's accounts. There's a lot that goes on, and it's a shame that a lot of the when the economic crisis happened, a lot of people didn't get their feet held to the fire, have to pay anything. A lot of them made more money under Obama and Biden and Bush, and even got richer. So yes, there's a lot of things wrong with that. But you also have to go back. Look at the Great Depression. Everyone's about, on Trump. Oh, he's worried about the stock market. Look what the Great Depression did. How many people that put out of work in this country? People lost every friggin' thing they had. Homes, farms, businesses. Not, the kids today don't even know about the parts, where stockbrokers were jumping out of windows and killing themselves. That's what probably most people, but the average person lost everything. And if the nation, most of the nation had not been rural still at that time, where a lot of people could still grow their own food. I mean, you can go back and look at the pictures of the bread lines and soup kitchens and things like that all over the place. People lined up for blocks. You look at the homeless we have now, it's nothing compared to what was going on back then. And now you have everybody has 401ks and everything. So the stock market is a very important thing. It has to stay healthy. Because if it collapses, guess what? It's not just them rich fuckers that are going to lose stuff, lose fortunes. It's going to be you're going to have the hardships. So people need to be educated and look at more things. You know what? If you don't know about the Great Depression and stuff and the stock market, look into that. Look, and there's a movie called The Grapes of Wrath with Henry Fonda. Watch that movie. We have whole generations of kids and young adults who don't even have an idea how hard things were in this country. I know about it because my mother grew up, in those times, and during World War II. And so our elderly are from those generations are disappearing faster and faster. And there's not that many left that young people can talk to. So it needs to be instilled in schools and talked about in school today, because kids don't have the grandparents around, who lived through that anymore. They're this, especially, you got a kid in grade school now. Well, that would have been his great grandparents who lived through it, and they're not around anymore. Maybe his grandparents can tell him about flower power in the 60s and stuff, but his great-grandparents could have told him about the Great Depression and the war and how hard things were. So you need to teach that in schools. We have to have some perspective. And, you know, and wealth isn't everything. I understand it, especially being, no matter what religion you look at, whether it's the message of Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad, they talk about the next life is the important thing, is what's to strive for. That this world passes away. You will pass away. Everything in this life is dust. It's a fading flower. No matter what religion you look at, that you should not strive for materialism and wealth and all this stuff, and waste your time and forget God, and that this life is only temporal. The next life is eternal. You understand that? So, but even though we're spiritual beings, we're living in this material world. Very good song, The Police. So there's nuts and bolts, meat and potatoes things. You got to work to feed yourself, and you got to work to keep a roof over your head. Even though you look at all the prophets and they all worked, they all ate. I mean, you know, and had families, and you know, just didn't walk around on cloud nine with you know, you have to go back to the Old Testament where manna fell from heaven, you know. So this life is this nether world is the temporal world where things are not perfect, and it's the next life, the eternal life, the more better life that Jesus spoke of, that you're supposed to strive for. But you cannot forget yourself and the facts of that you do live in a physical world. So anyhow, the points I'm trying to make is I just wish politicians were more analytical, more studied, would look into things, and instead of just taking lobbyists' money and going with the spin and, hey, yeah, we're going to go green and we're going to do all this and everything, just be practical and real. Say, yes, hey, I'm for going green, but, you know, windmills take up an awful lot of land. Solar farms take up an awful lot of land. Solar panels have to be replaced. Wind turbines have to be replaced. What's the cost? How much energy does one wind turbine generate? How much does it cost, actual cost, not subsidized cost? How much would the actual cost of manufacture, transport, building, and maintaining that wind turbine over so many years? And over those so many years, how many kilowatts of energy would it generate? And then you figure out what the cost ratio is and how much energy it puts out. And you compare that to the same kind of energy coming from a nuclear plant or a coal plant or any other thing you can come up with. And you look at what's more practical and produces the energy you need. And then you can figure out after that, then you can figure out some kind of green ratio or something if you wanted to. So you see what I'm saying? Don't be taken in by, oh, you know, we got to do this, we got to do that. Wait a minute. You know, don't rush headlong into it. Solar farms that could be land that could be used to grow food. Enormous, and the panels have, you know, chemicals in them. Chemicals are used to make them. What do you do with all these panels? If you put solar panels on every single house, you make it a mandate or something like that. Okay, they're going to have to be replaced at some point. How much are you driving up the price of a home? Number one. Number two, are they going to produce towards their more energy than their cost? Are they going to be cost effective? And, you know, how easily do they damage? What do you got to do to maintain them? I'm sure you got to wash them off once in a while. What if there's a hailstorm? this and that, all these other things. And you got to look at, the same thing with medicine. And Joe Biden, yeah, everyone, it's a right that you have medical. Really? So even if you don't, you don't give a crap about nobody or whatever, you live your life carelessly. You don't put any money aside for your own care or anything. You just hey, you're gonna live off the state, get free medical, this and that. Sounds great on paper. Hey, free medical. There's nothing free. You're gonna pay for it in taxes. And if he's gonna leave, he's gonna say, oh, you do like Obama, you can still keep your insurance if you want to. Your premiums are gonna go sky high again. We need to start teaching self-responsibility in schools. Cut taxes. Make sure when somebody starts working, say you're a kid, you start working at 16. Well, you know what? Automatically, maybe you get at the banks. I would prefer it went through private banks. You could set up your own accounts, but there'd be certain rules and locks on those accounts, and ways to get at that money that were in these certain accounts, rather than the government hold it, because they will just use it. They'll screw it up like they've screwed up Social Security, and everything else they touch, because they don't leave the money alone. Congress is more than happy to spend every single dime we make, and then pat themselves on the back and like, hey, we did some good for some people. Wealth redistribution. They ain't redistributing their wealth. They're taking it out of the working person's pocket. If you're working class, you're paying taxes, you're paying for subsidies for the upper in corporations, whether it's oil or whatever it is, you're paying subsidies, and then you're paying welfare. It's the same thing. It's subsidized living or business. Any businessman I could be a super success at trucking if I had big government subsidies. I could have the grandest, most successful trucking company out there. Give me millions or billions in subsidies every year. I'll create plenty of jobs. Be a great success. Line my own bank account just like all of them do. Whether it's in oil or the green, industries or the military industrial account, anything where you're getting big fat government money. I shouldn't say government money, it's the people's money, tax money. You can be a great success. Them telling people, they're on welfare, well, have another kid and you get more money. It's all ass backwards. Telling people who don't pay anything in taxes, we're going to give you money for having more kids. Then guess what? Your schools suck because there's no tax base. No one's working. No one's paying any taxes. So the schools in those areas suck. And it's a vicious circle. It's a road to nowhere. And you need to start educating kids in school. Look, you have to have a severe amount of responsibility for yourself in this life. And they need to teach them how to put money away. And so I'm saying, like, if you have these accounts, if a kid starts working when they're 16, guess what? 10%'s going into your medical account, 10%'s going into your retirement, 10%'s going into your education, or whatever the percentage is. And then here, what's left over, that you're 16, there's your pocket money or whatever. Same thing, I said maybe we should only have income tax between 24 and 64 or something like that. 40 years is enough. And work out the tax schedules, unless you make over a certain amount until you're the age of 24, you're not paying federal tax. Use that for your education, putting away for medical, retirement, getting your life on track, because it's a long, hard road. Like I tell my son every time I get, every chance I get, look here, life's not easy, it's not fair. You need to prepare yourself for it the best you can. Now, while you're young, do smart things with your money. There's no guarantees in anything, but don't go squander every dime you make. There's plenty of time to buy crap later in life. Crap that you don't need. Like I said, everything's rust and dust anyway. Anyhow, I think that'll do it for this one here. There's probably more I wanted to talk about, so probably be a 112 here, a few days or a week or whatever. Anyhow, I just think, we need to start doing that. Less taxes, have set up accounts. Here's what you're going to put into, and we can have, like a safety net program. Maybe 1% of all corporate tax or whatever goes into it. Like I said before, taxes on cigarettes and alcohol and things like that go into this national safety net medical thing, to where when your medical account and your insurance isn't enough to cover or whatever, or lacking, you dip into this thing, and work out all the details and what those plans cover and not cover. I don't want to pay for abortions. I don't want to pay for these women that want to look like Barbie and have 50,000 plastic surgeries. I don't want to pay for small farts Viagra. Whatever it is, we work out, what it pays for and what it doesn't, etc. So lots of things that can be hammered out if people sit down and do the math and they look at all the options, and instead of just, I'm for this and we got to do this, and that's why I think Trump is willing to look at anything. What's going to work? What's the answer? Give me solutions. Let's find what'll work. I don't think he's just being led around by the coattail saying, we're going to do this because somebody's lining his pockets. All right, so wish you all the best out there. Be safe. Have a good Thanksgiving. Have a good election. God bless. We'll talk to you next time. Adios.